Hi, today's Grow Joe. Well, I say it's a bit different most days. What we're going to look at is something we touched on last time, and it's these things. Beans. Now obviously we can't grow these are in a tin. These have already been cooked. Not only have they been cooked, they're almost ready to eat. They're safe and ready to use. Now the difference is between those and the beans that I've shown you, the kidney beans I've shown you last time, which were dried, is that the dried beans have a poison in them. I think it's ricin, and it needs to be cooked and cooked very well to break this poison up into little bits. And when that poison's broken up into little bits, the beans become delicious, and these are perfect for a chili. However, if you've got dried beans, you need to soak them overnight. So here I've got some black-eyed beans, which is the same as black-eyed peas. Not the pot root, these are actually the beans. Now, these would need soaking for 12 hours, and then you cook them. And you would have to cook them really well to kill all the poison off, to get rid of it. That's not a problem. We eat beans every day. As long as you remember this, you're safe with beans. But there are other things we can do with beans besides eat them dried. If you've got runner beans, you can eat them in the pods. Broad beans, you can eat them when they're green and when they're really juicy. And other beans you can do other things with. Now this one here, by the way, I don't own shares in this company. I just picked them all out of the cupboard and they're all by this company. It's just from Morrison's. Picked it up at the supermarket. These are mung beans. Now this is important. You must get mung beans. They shouldn't look like mung beans. They should actually say they are mung beans. If in doubt, don't. Now these are dried beans. You wouldn't think it. They're tiny. They're like grains of rice. But they are beans. And if you soak them for 24 hours, that's the best side, is it? Camera girl, which one's the best side? That one or that one?
They're both just as good.
Okay, there you go. So these have been soaked for 24 hours. And they've only got another couple of days before they'll be ready. Hark, I hear you say, why will they be ready? And what on earth has this got to do with gardening? It's more like a cooking show. It's not. We are actually growing these, and you soak them in water, put some water into the jar, swirl it round a bit, shut the jar so it leaks out the top, and pour the water back out again. And you put it on a windowsill. For a couple of days, I find a windowsill works nice. And then you can see, if we can get our camera girl to close up very close on them, you might see they're popping their little roots out. They're already started to grow, which is great. We're not going to plant them. What we're going to do is keep them growing for 5 days. Every day, twice a day, put some water in, swirl them around a bit, empty it out. And then you will have bean shoots. And the bean shoots then can be put into food. It's important you do not eat bean shoots raw. This is a problem that can catch a lot of people out. It's not that they're poisonous, it's just that they grow in wet conditions and bacteria can breed on them. And some of the bacteria isn't nice for you. So it's the same with most vegetables. You've got to wash them and cook them before you eat them. And that is the same with bean shoots. You can do a nice little Chinese meal where you stick them in a wok and cook them very quickly. But they must be well cooked. I have lots of vitamins in, and they're absolutely brilliant. And nobody really realises that for, what is it, 75p? Oh, I can't remember what the price is. Is it, what is it, £1.50? I don't know now.
It's like a pound.
For a bag of these, you can get this jar full with bean shoots probably 20 times. So you've got 20 jars full of vegetables in the space of one bag of beans. So try it. Right, Other supermarkets do sell their own brands. I do not know whether they all work. All I know is that the one from Morrison's does work. So experiment. Wherever you go shopping, I'm sure they'll be just as good. Mung beans you can do that with. I am told you can do it with lentils, which are not, you know, they are seeds. Even though they look like half seeds, they're really complete seeds. And lentil comes from the Latin name unilens. So we've got these lens-shaped seeds. Now, believe it or not, this is a crop that has been known in Britain for 1,000 years. And we don't grow it in Britain anymore. So give it a go. These sort of things you can grow and plant out in the garden. Then you can get a nice crop out of them. Mung beans are a little bit more tropical. They're going to be more difficult to grow. They're all awful to pick and dry off. But have a bit of fun with them. But the flowers are great. What is really good with lentils and some of these things is you can put them on your ground, sprinkle them down, get them growing, and because they've got the nodules on that set nitrogen, they actually improve your soil. And even if you just cut them all off at the ground and dig it over and plant something else, you've included a lot of fertiliser into your soil. But have a go. Black-eyed peas, very similar. Apparently you can grow them outside. I'm going to have a go this year. And look, I've got a big bag for the price of a small bag of seeds. So I'm going to have a go, see if we can grow some black-eyed peas and see what happens there. There's several others you can grow. Soya. You can grow soya if you want, soya beans. You can grow chickpeas. I haven't got any chickpeas here. They have one of the prettiest of flowers. So they're even worthwhile growing on a windowsill. We've got brown beans, which to me look like broad beans or field beans, but if you have a lot of things from the continent, you'll probably find that brown beans are included, and they're like a little coarser broad bean. We sometimes call them field beans. And there's butter beans. Now, butter beans really do come from the tropics. Sometimes you can buy dried butter beans, mainly you buy them in tins, but if you can get dried butter beans, why don't you try growing them as well? And if you really like growing these, they are great. But remember, beans need to be cooked. No eating raw beans. It's just something you just cannot do. I've labelled that pretty hard. The shoots, make sure you cook them first. Never eat them raw in a salad. They do not go in salads, simply because of the amount of bacteria that could be on them. And when they're like this stage, which is just sticking their roots out, bung them in a cupboard. Wash them still twice a day, but put them in the dark. And the beans tend to be a little sweeter, the bean shoots, than when they're left out in the sunshine when they go a bit too green. So they are sweeter like that. If you want to grow flowers and you've got access to a nice seed catalogue, a really good one that is a struggle to grow but extremely beautiful is Sturt's Desert Pea. And if not, you can grow sweet peas for the garden, which I'm sure you will find somebody who will be overjoyed to receive a bunch of sweet peas. And there you've got the pea-like flower, which is very unusual in itself. Get to know the pea flowers, because then you can recognise anybody, I treat them like people, any plant of the pea families. And most of the pea families, like lupins, you can't eat lupins, laburnums, all have nodules on their roots, and they take in nitrogen out of the air and turn it into fertilisers. So every time you grow beans, you make your soil more productive, and it's very ecologically friendly, simply because you don't have to put fertilisers on to have a better crop. So use them as part of your rotation. Rotation is something we'll talk about another time, but it means not growing the same veg in the same place every year. So you change beans with something else like potatoes the next year, and then you can grow something else the year after, and then you should fertilise. But beans help. Okay, I think that's about me said for today. This week's lesson is all going to be all about beans, and I want everybody to look at getting some mung bean seeds, quite cheap, and then we can start to grow our own bean shoots. And until spring, this is an ideal way to get extra vegetables into the family's diet, and it's so cheap. And you can do it on any windowsill or cupboard. Doesn't even need the light. So I really want somebody to look for some mung bean seeds when they go shopping. If not, the week after, we'll start doing it then. But I'm going to do it every 5 or 6 days, and then eat them, and then start some more off. And eat them and start some more off. And so until we get time to get fresh veg, then we're going to do mung beans. Okay, well, we'll talk all about that in the lesson this week, and I'll show you exactly what to do. And hopefully by the time it's your lesson, these will be a lot bigger, and then you could watch them. Okay, end of Grow Joe today. Thank you very much for watching.